Hi guys, so in today's video we're going to learn about how British and American use their words differently. So British English and American English. So if you're interested to know more of these words, please tune in. So just a little bit history about this. I was born and raised in the Philippines, and when I met my husband and he started talking about these weird words, and I was like, what? No, it's like this, not like that. And I was just curious to know about this. So I researched not each and every word, but I researched more of these words so that I understood and I can be, part of the community when they talk about it. I wouldn't be like, what are they talking about? So let's start. So British will say trainers and American will say sneakers, and British will say jumper or pullover, and American will say sweater. So British will say waistcoat, American will say vest. Yes, definitely in the Philippines, because we use American English, we use vest. So British will say braces and American will say suspenders. So just to correct, this is not the braces for the dental braces, these are the suspenders, braces. So for some food, British will say chips and French fries for American, and crisps for British, and for American is chips. So I've got a quick story about that. A British ordered a chips in Las Vegas, and the bartender gave him, or the waitress gave him, because he ordered in the bar, you see, gave him a pack of chips, crisps, which is the chips in America, and he said, "No, I ordered chips, French fries, chips." Oh, American guy said, "Oh, okay." So yeah, that is a true story. So yeah, so British will say biscuit and cookie for American. British will say peckish when they're hungry, and American will say hungry. So for spelling differences, most British word have got U after O, say color, and with American English it's just color, no U. So aeroplane, we say aeroplane in British, and American will say airplane. That's how I grew up, airplane, not aeroplane. So for a spelling again is gray for E for British, and for American is gray, which is A. And some food, British will say courgette, American will say zucchini or zucchini. British will say aubergine, American will say eggplant, which is in the Philippines they will say eggplant as well. British will say jacket potato, can we have jacket for dinner? Or American will say baked potato. British will say block of flats, and Americans will say apartment building. British will say flat, American will say apartment. British will say ground floor, and American will say first floor. But some American will say ground floor as well. Let me just give you a bit of story about this. In the Philippines, if you go in, say for instance a mall, if you go in and on just the first door you get to the mall, that's, we call that first floor. If you go on the next floor, one level up, it's called the second floor. In the UK they say if you go in the mall, that's the ground floor, and next level is first floor, another level up is second floor. That's how it works. It's a bit confusing. So British will say underground, and American will say Subway. I've got a note here, sorry. British will say chemist, and American will say drugstore or pharmacy. British will say phone box, and American will say phone booth. British will say queue, like QRST, queue, but it's QUEUE. But American will say line, line up, queue up. So British will say bonnet on their car, but American will say hood, and British will say boot of the car, American will say trunk. British will say windscreen, American will say windshield. British will say indicator, American will say blinker. British will say tire with a Y, American will say tire with an I. So British will say takeaway. Let's get a takeaway for dinner. American will say takeout. So back when I was in the Philippines, if I say can I order this at McDonald's, say takeout please. So that's how we say takeout. British will say timetable, and American will say schedule or schedule. British will say rubber, American will say eraser. You know that eraser you used when you had a mistake with pencil writing. Yeah, I asked my husband, where's the eraser? Oh, rubber. It's like, what rubber? It's eraser. Anyway, British will say rubber, American will say eraser. So British will say post, American will say mail. British will say holiday if they go away for their break. American will say vacation. What else? British will say lorry, American will say truck. British will say flat, American will say apartment. British will say lift, American will say elevator. So elevate is like it will lift you up, it will elevate you. It's the same thing, but it's just the way they say words, you know. So it's another spelling one. Other. British will say order, order, order. American will say order. Same thing, but with U after O. British will say pajamas with a Y. American will say pajamas with an A. British will say program with double M and E at the end bit. American will say program, just program. British will say apologize with an S on apologize. American will say apologize with a Z or Z at the end. That's another thing. Alphabet, the Z, for American and British, they say Z. So British will say nappy, American will say diaper. I asked my husband, why did they say nappy for diaper? It's so, I mean, what? It's really far from diaper to nappy. So I think he said many years ago, British first nap diaper is called, the brand is called Nappy. So that's, British is very famous of using or using that word, using words by brand. So another example here is got it here, wait, I wrote it down. Stanley knife. American will say box cutter. So by brand, the first brand that stuck in their mind or the brand that they knew was Stanley, and they called it Stanley knife instead of American saying it box cutter. You see, it's the brand that sticks, and then people will keep saying it, and then it's like, yeah. So British will say nappy, American will say diaper. British will say dummy, American will say pacifier. British will say loo, American will say restroom or bathroom. British will say telly, American will say TV or television. So British will say sweets, American will say candy. British will say candy floss, American will say cotton candy. British will say ice lolly, and American will say popsicle. and British will say torch, American will say flashlight. British will say mobile phone, American will say cell phone. British will say rubbish, American will say garbage or trash. And British will say bin, American will say trash can. So yeah, I've mentioned it in my video just a few seconds ago. I said most of their words have got you after. Oh, like favor, favorite, humor, neighbor. I don't know the history about this, but whatever you use, whatever you write, it's correct. In fact, when I came to the UK, I went to have my English test. Despite me speaking English, they want every people to enter the country, to not enter as a visitor, of course, for good, to be able to speak English. So I had my English test and I passed. So the regulation and the rules in that test is any English, if you use American, Canadian, British English on the oral test or writing test, essay, something like that, if you put it on British way, English, American English way, or Canadian English way, it doesn't matter. They will. It's still correct if you done it in any other way, in those ways. So no matter how you say these words, it's fine. No matter you say, if you say it in British way, in English way, it's fine. It's just how you connect with people. I had to learn these things because I now live in the UK. My family lives here, and I mingle with people in the UK. So if I don't learn this, I will be like, what is he talking about? So I had to learn this, and it's funny in a way, like learning new things. So I hope you guys enjoyed and learned new things in this video. I'm not an expert in this matter. It's just a matter of me learning it while I lived in the UK. So I thought I would share it with you. Why not? So if you have any comments, and if you want to add more on these words, feel free to comment down below. And if you have any question, any comments about this video, as I've said, I'm not an expert. I just learned this, research it my own way. And if you agree with it, if you had fun about it, thank you very much. So please remember to like this video and subscribe.